Hello everybody, this is Dr. David Cole. This is the week 1 video for Political Science 1013 for the summer 2025 term on the first 7-week schedule. Everybody, these videos generally will go out Sunday afternoon or evening, but tomorrow, Monday, is the first day of the term, so we'll wait till then. Look for a series of announcements today, everybody. Check your inboxes. They'll come through the course website and also to your OPSU email address. I get a series of announcements out every term on the first day of class. Everyone, let me run through the course requirements very quickly, and then we'll talk about what we're doing for the first week of class. Everybody, there will be 4 exams and a term paper which is optional, which you may do if you choose. It can take the place of exam 1, 2, or 3, not the final. Everybody has to take exam 4, the final. But if you should have a low grade on exam 1, 2, or 3, the paper could take the place of that grade. Okay. There will be at least 1, perhaps more, extra credit assignments worth 5 points. There will be a 20-point bonus if you take part in all the threaded discussions. There will be 5 threaded discussions for 25 points each, and we'll count the best 4 out of 5. So that is a 100-point grade. Everybody, one change I'm making this term is that my exams and my term paper will each count 150 points, but the set of discussions will be 100 points. We're trying to weight the exams and the paper more than the set of discussions this term. It won't make all that much difference. My exams had been 50 2-point items, true, false, multiple choice, so we're going to make them 3 points instead of 2. So that the discussions will be weighted a little less and the exams and the paper a bit more than in the past. Okay. Basically, it's 4 exams, a term paper if you choose to do one, plus a set of discussions. And there's an attendance bonus for taking part in all the discussions, and there'll be at least 1 extra credit that you can earn for a couple of points, 5 points per extra credit. So your grade will be figured on 700 points, 90, 80, 70, 60 scale. That's 630 for an A, and I believe it would go 560 for a B, 490 for a C, and the minimum passing grade would be 60%, 420 points out of 700. So, those are the major rules of the game as to how your grade will be computed. Everybody, this week we will have a threaded discussion Wednesday and Thursday. That's, let's see, the 14th and 15th, I believe. You'll be asked to look at an article about a woman whose husband doesn't want to visit the wife's parents because they don't share the parents' political views. Okay, and we're going to ask you what you think of that. This was a question that was put to a therapist. See if those attitudes resemble yours or not, and see what you think of the advice that the therapist gives. Okay, that'll be our first discussion. There'll be 5 of them. So at one point we'll have to double up and have 2 discussions in between exams. Generally there will be 1, but at one point we'll have to stop and do 2 at a time in between exams to get 5 for the term. Okay. Our first exam will be Friday the 23rd. Now it's a 7-week schedule, so exams come pretty fast, about once every 10 days. Okay. The material for the first exam on the 23rd will be the class notes for units 1 and 2, which are up on the course website. Now I'll be revising them as we go along. I only have units 1 and 2 up right now. I hope to have 3 and 4 up later this week. But you'll be responsible for the class notes for units 1 and 2, plus 4 articles to be accessed online. And I'll send you an announcement with the links to those articles. Everybody, you should not have to pay for access to any of these articles. Several of them are to sites that are free of charge. Others let you have a limited number of page views before you hit a paywall. Publications to which I subscribe, I will try to send you a gift link And you can, if I assign you a Wall Street Journal article, we have a subscription at the library, and you can log on to the library and use their institutional subscription. I'll send you instructions about how to do that. But I hope that will not be an issue. If you ever encounter a link that I've sent you for which a paywall pops up and wants you to pay, contact me. I will get the material to you. You should not have to pay for any of this. There is a textbook which you can access online, or you can purchase a hard copy. The assigned chapters, and I won't assign every chapter from the textbook, but I will assign some. There will be links to those chapters on the course website. So you can purchase the hard copy of the textbook if you wish, or you can use the links that I will provide. The textbook is considered supplementary to my class notes. Class notes kind of take precedence over the textbook, but I hope you will look at both. Okay, so those are the rules of the game in the main. I hope that is clear. You'll be getting a syllabus attached to one of the emails I'll send you tomorrow, and the syllabus will be up on the website, the course website, in the modules area, and that will be published later tonight or first thing in the morning, so it will be visible to you at that point. Let me say a few words then about Unit 1, and we'll talk about Unit 2 on political parties and pressure groups next time before our exam on the 23rd. Unit 1 is called Political Participation. It is largely about voting in elections, okay? But I do make some other comments before we get to voting and elections, okay? There's some general comments about the course as a whole and the concept of democracy, okay? You'll notice one set of notes that accompanies one of those slides in that presentation I want to send to you in the form of an email because it is important. Okay? Every one of these class notes are PowerPoints that have been converted to Microsoft Word files. You'll see slides and notes beneath the class notes. Okay? All right. Now, I go on to talk about several ways that you can participate. We're going to talk quite a bit about voting. There are some problems with voting. Okay? If all we ever do is vote, perhaps we're not participating all that much in the system. But there are many, many things you could do. You could turn yourself into sort of an advertisement by wearing a button, putting a bumper sticker on your car, or a sign in your yard. You could give money to a political candidate, or a political party, or a pressure group. You could attend a public meeting. It might get to the point that you might run for public office yourself at some point. Okay, we refer to all that, and there's a range of things you can do as conventional participation, or participating, shall we say, within the system. But sometimes people feel moved to push the bounds of the system and do something unconventional, and by that we mean protest behavior generally. Of course, protests generally are intended to be nonviolent, but protests may spill over into violence. We can look at several instances of protest in recent history, okay, the past few years. Some protests attended President Trump's inauguration for his first term back in January 2017. We haven't seen so much for the second term, okay, but there was quite a bit associated with the so-called resistance when President Trump was inaugurated back in January 2017. Before that, there was the Tea Party movement. Near the end of President Trump's first term, there was the George Floyd episode, the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis in May of 2020, which was followed by Black Lives Matter protests all over the United States in the middle of the pandemic. Okay. Then, of course, after the November 2020 election on January 6, 2021, there was the storming of the U.S. Capitol, highly controversial, of course, and sort of a challenge to the way we conventionally normally have done things under our system. So those are less conventional ways of participating. The ultimate form of that might be a revolution that would overthrow a government somewhere, and such things have happened, as we know, from time to time, including the American Revolution. But what we largely want to talk about in this unit is elections and voting, Because whatever we say about, or whatever we may say about voting, it's elections that determine who gets to hold public office. Now, we talk a great deal in the class notes about the expansion of the right to vote in America throughout American history. And we talk about controversies that have attended elections, especially the 2020 election and President Trump's insistence that that election was stolen. Okay. Now, when it comes to elections, there are two questions. For instance, we might be interested in trying to predict the result of the election. We want to know who's going to win, or who's probably going to win. So, for those purposes, we might want to know something about how people make their vote choice. How do people decide whether to vote for Trump or Harris, or for the Republicans or the Democrats, or whoever they end up voting for? The thing about it is, before you make that vote choice, you have to decide whether to vote or not. And we know many people vote and many people do not. And the question arises, are the people who turn out representative of everybody, or are they different from the ones who do not turn out? That could be an issue for the representativeness of our system. So we have two issues, turnout and vote choice. And one point we make about turnout is that turnout in the United States compared to other countries around the world that are similar historically has been low. And we talk about some of the reasons for that. It's true that turnout was fairly high for the 2020 and the 2024 presidential elections. Turnout in 24 was down just a bit, but still almost as high as it was for 2020. Now, once people have decided to turn out, how do they make the vote choice? One point you'll notice that we emphasize very strongly is that the major determinant is whether you consider yourself a Democrat or a Republican. Party identification, or party ID. Okay? That's the one piece of information about somebody that will give you the best chance of predicting their vote. Although sometimes people do cross party lines. It could be that they're characteristics of an individual candidate or of the issues of the day that might make people cross party lines. Or it could be a celebrity endorsement by somebody like Taylor Swift that we discuss at the very end of those class notes. We try to classify people, you notice at one point, political scientists have tried to classify people according to how they make their vote choice. Okay, everybody, that will be enough for this time. We'll talk to you again in about a week. We hope you will take part in the discussion on Wednesday and Thursday and start getting ready for the exam on the 23rd. Those links to the articles you're asked to look at for the exam, please go ahead and try those as soon as you get the announcement. You may want to print those articles because we need to know as far in advance as possible if there's any problem with those links. You can contact me through the course website or at david.cole@opsu.edu. At the left of the course website, you'll see something called Inbox that you can click. Okay, and you can send me an email that way, or you can use your regular OPSU email. Okay, now you'll see a link to announcements. Okay, the announcements that I send out will all be up on the course homepage. The last 10 or 15 of them, and you can find all of them if you click on announcements. Now, to get to our class notes, to get to the discussion, and to get to the exams, okay, well, there's separate links for the discussions and the exams, which says quizzes rather than exams. But you can get to any of it by clicking on modules at the left of the course homepage. So I hope that's all clear enough. If it's not, it's discussed fairly thoroughly, I think, in the announcements I'm going to send out tomorrow morning, Monday. In the meantime, study hard, take it easy. You can contact me through the course website or at david.cole@opsu.edu. It's a very quick term, 7 weeks, with an exam coming about every 10 days. So get ready to move through the material fairly quickly. In a couple of days, about the time of the discussion, I hope to be getting a document out to you about the term paper with information about several topics you might work on for your term paper. All right, everybody, study hard, take it easy. We hope you will take part in the discussion later this week, and we'll talk to you about a week from now at this time.